The Unbreakable Alliance. In the cold silence of space, there floated a ship that made even the stars seem small. They called it the Obsidian Crown, the pride of the Galactic Alliance, a warship so massive that it cast shadows across entire moons. From orbit, it gleamed like a black diamond, each surface layered with alien alloys said to be unbreakable. Beneath its shimmering armor, 20 different alien species stood together on the command deck, watching the tests begin. Before them hovered a ring of target ships, empty old warships, ready to be obliterated. But the Alliance had something else in mind. They were not testing their weapons. They were testing their defense. "Begin the simulation," said the Velthar admiral, his voice cold and sharp like steel. Hundreds of ships opened fire. Energy beams, plasma lances, railgun shells, and nuclear detonations collided against the Obsidian Crown's armor in a blinding storm of light. The void itself seemed to scream. Then, silence. As the smoke cleared, the Obsidian Crown still stood, untouched, unmoved, not a single scratch. The bridge erupted in cheers. The admiral raised his arm, proud and certain. "No weapon can break us," he declared. "No empire can stand against the Alliance." Across the galaxy, his words echoed through transmission waves. The message was clear. The Alliance now ruled the stars, and far away on the blue planet called Earth, humanity listened. They listened, and quietly disagreed. The Galactic Alliance had existed for over 3,000 years. A vast network of star systems ruled by ancient species, each one older and prouder than the last. When humanity finally achieved faster-than-light travel, they expected celebration, recognition, perhaps even friendship. What they received instead was pity. To the Alliance, humanity was young, unstable, and foolish. Primitive monkeys who had barely learned to walk among the stars. And yet, despite the insults and mockery, humanity had joined the Alliance anyway, because survival demanded it. Earth was recovering from wars, famine, and the long silence of isolation. They needed allies, or at least the illusion of them. The Alliance welcomed them as observers, not equals. Human diplomats were given small seats in grand chambers, and even smaller voices. But humanity had learned something through pain, through centuries of struggle. The ones who talk the most are rarely the ones who understand power. The unveiling of the Unbreakable Fleet was supposed to be a celebration of unity. 10,000 ships, bound together by technology so advanced that even the laws of physics seemed afraid to touch it. The armor of the Obsidian Crown was forged from quantum-layered alloys that absorbed energy, redirected it, and laughed at entropy. According to the scientists of the Alliance, this technology made them invincible. They believed it completely. Every news broadcast, every star network, every alien world repeated the same message: no weapon can break the fleet. But among all those voices of celebration, only one species stayed quiet: humanity. On the observation platform above the shipyard, 3 human representatives stood apart from the rest. They watched the spectacle unfold through reinforced glass. Ambassador Ilara Voss, the first human ever allowed to stand in the High Council chamber, said nothing. Beside her, Commander Jace Moran, a veteran of Earth's last global war, kept his jaw tight. Around them, the alien dignitaries celebrated. Music that wasn't quite sound vibrated through the air. The Obsidian Crown glowed brighter with every cheer. Ilara's hands tightened around the rail. "They really believe it," she whispered. Moran nodded slowly. "They always do, right before they fall." Behind them, a younger aide looked confused. "But ma'am, they've built something unstoppable. What could we ever do against that?" Ilara turned her gaze to the void outside, where the stars shimmered like silent witnesses. Her voice dropped low. "You don't defeat something like that by matching it." She looked at Moran, a spark in her eyes. "You break it by thinking differently." As the ceremony ended, alien ships drifted back to their home worlds, celebrating their victory over the very idea of destruction. But in a small human transport leaving the station, The atmosphere was silent, heavy, electric. Commander Moran stared at the black starship growing smaller in the viewport. "Unbreakable," he muttered. "We'll see about that." Ilara didn't look away. Her expression was unreadable, half awe, half determination. When the engines ignited, she spoke one final line, a whisper meant for no one, yet powerful enough to echo across human history. "If they believe that, they've already lost." The stars shifted. Somewhere in the dark, humanity began to plan, not for war, not for glory, but for proof. Proof that no empire, no matter how vast, was truly unbreakable. And when the time came, the galaxy would remember what humanity had always known. You don't challenge the impossible. You build the weapon that makes it possible. In the deep red dust of Mars, beneath a mountain hollowed out by secret machines, the hum of creation filled the air. Herds of engineers, scientists, and soldiers moved in quiet rhythm under the flicker of dim lights. This place didn't exist on any alliance chart. It wasn't meant to. The world above was lifeless desert, but below, humanity was alive, defiant, and dreaming of breaking the unbreakable. They called the facility Erebus Station. It was where failure was expected and impossible ideas were born. Commander Jace Moran stood before a circular table lit by blue holographic lines. Then designs rotated slowly in the air, sleek outlines of machines that no alien had ever imagined. Each one was a weapon meant to do what the galaxy believed impossible. Above the blueprints glowed a single project name, Breakpoint. "They think no weapon can break them," said Moran, his voice low, calm, and steady. "Good, that means they won't see us coming." Around the table, 10 of Earth's brightest minds stared at the projections. Some were soldiers, others were scientists. All of them were outcasts, men and women the Alliance had dismissed as reckless, unfit, or too dangerous to trust. Humanity's forgotten minds, now its greatest hope. Dr. Lyra Hahn, chief engineer and physicist, adjusted her visor and studied the rotating design of Breaker 1. "You're asking us to bend the laws of physics," she said quietly. "Even with all our old war tech, this isn't a weapon." "It's madness," Moran smiled faintly. "Madness built the first rocket. Madness split the atom. I'm not asking for perfect, Doctor. I'm asking for possible." Outside the reinforced walls, storms howled across the Martian surface. Inside, humanity's stubborn heartbeat echoed in the whir of machines and the hiss of plasma welders. No alien knew what was happening here, not yet. Weeks passed. The first test of Breaker 1 was a disaster. The weapon overloaded before it could even fire, melting half the chamber into molten slag. 2 engineers were injured. Lyra threw her tools down in frustration. "It's impossible. Their armor absorbs every known energy signature. We can't hit what refuses to be hit." Moran didn't answer immediately. He stared at the wreckage, at the blackened steel and the smell of ozone. Then he said, "Then we stop trying to hit them." The room fell silent. "What do you mean?" one of the younger engineers asked. Moran turned toward the flickering projection of the Obsidian Crown, the ship that had humiliated them all. "The Alliance builds shields that absorb. Let's build something that ignores." That was how Breaker 2 began. Instead of fire or energy, it used gravitational disruption, pulling, bending, twisting space itself until reality forgot what it was supposed to do. No armor could block what it couldn't understand. Days turned into months. Sleepless nights blurred together. The team worked until their hands shook. One by one, they began to believe not in success but in necessity. Humanity didn't have the luxury of quitting. Every failure meant another decade of mockery, another century of submission. Finally, the day came. Inside a sealed chamber, Breaker 2 stood ready. A smooth silver cannon no longer than a shuttle, glowing faintly with pale blue light. Its coils hummed like thunder trapped in glass. Power levels. Moran asked. "Stable," Lyra replied. "For now." Fire when ready. A beam erupted not of light but of distortion. The air itself seemed to twist, pulling sound, sight, and thought into a single silent pulse. The target drone vanished, not destroyed, not vaporized, simply gone. The room stayed silent for 3 long seconds. Then one of the technicians whispered, "What just happened?" Lyra stared at the empty space. "We didn't destroy it. We erased it." Moran's lips curved into the smallest of smiles. "Then we're on the right track, but somewhere far beyond Mars, on a quiet relay station orbiting Jupiter, an alien sensor array blinked to life. It had caught something strange, an energy burst that didn't fit any known weapon profile. The signal pulsed once, twice, then transmitted through hidden channels across the stars. In the shadowed halls of an alien intelligence center, a tall figure leaned over a console. His eyes widened as the data played across his screen. "Humans," he muttered in disbelief. "They're building something." He reached for his communicator. "Command, this is Agent Solkar. You're going to want to see this." Back on Mars, unaware that they had been discovered, the human team celebrated quietly. For the first time in decades, they had done something no one else in the galaxy could. They had created a weapon that defied the rules. A weapon that could challenge the gods of the stars. Syrah looked at Moran, her voice soft but steady. "If the Alliance finds out what we're doing—" "They will," he said. "Eventually. Then what happens?" Moran's eyes met hers, cold and certain. "Then the galaxy learns that humanity never stays broken for long." Above them, Mars' crimson sky flared with another storm. Lightning danced across the dust, echoing the heartbeat of a species that refused to surrender. In the shadows of that forgotten world, the spark of defiance burned brighter than ever. The aliens had said no weapon could break them. Humanity had just built the first one that might. The ship drifted in silence through the crimson storms of Mars, its hull cloaked in invisibility fields tuned to alien eyes. Inside, Agent Solkar of the Zenith species sat alone in the dim cockpit, reviewing his orders. His mission was simple: infiltrate humanity's hidden base, gather proof of Project Breakpoint, and return before anyone noticed he existed. He didn't believe the humans were capable of much. No one in the Galactic Alliance did. They were clever in small ways, quick to adapt, quick to fight, but still primitive. They built things that burned and broke, not things that endured. But the report he'd received, the signal from the Jupiter relay, had disturbed even him. A weapon test that didn't fit any known energy signature, a sudden gap in space-time that no one could explain. The Alliance dismissed it as a glitch. Solkar didn't. His ship descended through the Martian atmosphere, sliding into the dust storms like a ghost. The scanners were useless. The entire region was flooded with interference. That was his first warning sign. The second came when he saw the lights. Hidden beneath a crater, like a glowing scar in the planet's skin, was the facility. Erebus Station. Humanity's secret. He guided the craft to a landing near one of the maintenance tunnels and stepped out. The air was thin, freezing and heavy with iron dust. He moved quickly, his dark suit blending into the shadows. The tunnel walls were lined with old Terran metal, ugly, crude, functional. Every sound echoed like a warning. Deeper inside, faint voices drifted through the corridors. Human voices. They sounded tired but alive, driven. Solkar followed them until the tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber, and there he saw it. Suspended in the center of the room was something that made even his alien blood run cold. A weapon, not like anything the Alliance had built. Its surface shimmered, bending light around it, as if refusing to exist in one place at a time. Engineers moved carefully around it, checking readings, murmuring to each other. One human stood apart, arms folded, eyes locked on the machine. Commander Jace Moran. Solkar recognized the name from the Alliance archives. Former soldier, survivor of Earth's last war, dangerous, unpredictable. Moran spoke to the lead engineer. "Dr. Lyra Han, fire sequence in 30 seconds, he said. "Target chamber sealed." "Power stable," she replied. Moran's jaw tightened. "Then let's see what you've built, Doctor." Solkar watched from the shadows as the humans stepped back. The weapon hummed, its surface rippling like liquid glass. The air vibrated. A low sound, half thunder, half whisper, filled the chamber. Then, with a flash that seemed to fold the room inside out, The target drone vanished, no explosion. No debris, just absence. Solkar felt his heart skip. This wasn't destruction, it was erasure. The drone hadn't been destroyed, it had been removed from existence. The humans cheered, clapping each other on the back. Moran didn't smile. He only stared at the weapon, his eyes hard and unreadable. "Breaker 2, he said quietly. "Now it begins." Solkar turned to leave, but a voice stopped him. "You shouldn't be here," he froze. A young human guard stood at the end of the tunnel, holding a rifle leveled at his chest. For a moment neither moved. Then Solkar lunged. The corridor erupted into chaos. Alarms blared. Lights flashed red. Solkar ran, dodging bullets that sparked against the walls. He leapt into an access shaft, sliding down into the lower tunnels. Shouts echoed behind him. "Seal the exits!" "Someone get Moran." Solkar reached his ship, lungs burning. He activated the cloaking field and blasted off, just as human fighters appeared on the radar. Laser fire streaked past him, close enough to shake the hull. But he didn't stop. He had what he came for. The moment he cleared orbit, he sent his message. "To High Command, this is Agent Solkar. Humanity has created a weapon capable of breaking the laws of physics. Repeat, the humans have broken the impossible." The transmission cut off as a blast tore through his engines. The ship spun violently, alarms screaming. A final thought flickered through Solkar's mind as fire filled the cockpit. They did it. They really did it. Back on Mars, Commander Moran watched the wreckage burn through the thin sky. Lyra joined him, her face pale. "He saw, didn't he?" Moran nodded. "Doesn't matter. They won't believe him," she frowned. "And if they do?" He looked at the glowing weapon behind them, its surface pulsing like a heartbeat. "Then they'll come," he said. "And when they do, we'll be ready." Above them, the storm raged louder, lightning flashing through red clouds. The galaxy still laughed at humanity, still dismissed them as weak, as backward. But somewhere in the shadows of that Martian base, a truth had taken shape, one that could not be unseen. The galaxy believed no weapon could break them. Humanity had just proven otherwise. The orbital sky above Earth was a canvas of chaos. The Obsidian Crown, flagship of the Galactic Alliance, drifted silently through the void, its black hull gleaming under the light of distant suns. 20 of the Alliance's most powerful ships flanked it, forming a protective ring around the planet. Their commanders were confident. They believed they were untouchable. They had called it an exhibition, a demonstration of power to remind humanity of its place. And humanity had obeyed. At least, that's what the aliens thought. In orbit above the Atlantic, a small human fleet moved silently. Not a single weapon had been fired yet. No warning, just ships, shadows against the stars, waiting. On the command bridge of Earth's flagship, Commander Jace Moran stood with his team of scientists and tacticians. Their eyes were fixed on the holographic projection of the Obsidian Crown. Every calculation they had made, every test of Project Breakpoint, led to this moment. Dr. Lyra Hahn activated the targeting interface. "Power levels stable," she said, voice steady but taut with tension. "Breaker 3 is ready." Moran nodded. He didn't speak. There was nothing to say. The fleet had underestimated humanity for centuries. Now they would see. The firing sequence began. A beam, unlike any the galaxy had ever known, shot out from the human vessel. It wasn't a laser or a missile. It wasn't even a projectile in the way the Alliance understood projectiles. Space itself seemed to warp, twisting around the beam as it raced toward the Obsidian Crown. Time slowed. Alien eyes widened in disbelief. Defensive shields flared, energy flaring and bending, but the beam didn't stop. It passed through the shields like they weren't there. A single point of light struck the hull. The massive black ship shuddered, then vanished. Silence. Absolute silence. The alien fleets couldn't comprehend it. They had tested for every possible threat, every conceivable weapon, every angle of attack. Nothing should have been able to touch the Obsidian Crown, and yet there it was, or rather there it wasn't. The humans cheered quietly among themselves. Not loud, not boastful, but full of triumph. Moran didn't smile. He knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy, however, erupted in confusion and panic. Transmission after transmission from the remaining Alliance ships blinked with urgency. Impossible. Confirm status. They cannot have fired. Impossible. On Earth, the news feeds didn't broadcast the victory. It wasn't meant for anyone else yet. Humanity had to finish the work first. Moran turned to Lyra. "They'll come for us," he said simply. "They already are," she replied, her eyes scanning the projections of the remaining fleets. In the void, alien ships scrambled to regroup, firing volleys of energy at nothing. The humans had struck first, and with a weapon they could neither see nor understand. Fear had begun to replace arrogance, and that fear was the greatest weapon of all. Moran stared at the stars beyond the viewport. 9 more, he whispered. "We have 9 more." Every engineer, every pilot, every soldier in the human fleet understood the weight of that moment. The first strike had shattered the myth of the unbreakable. The next ones would shatter the fleets themselves. Far away, deep in the command chambers of the Alliance, whispers began to circulate. The Obsidian Crown was gone. A single human ship had fired and survived. The calculations were impossible. No one could have anticipated this. In the quiet of the human command bridge, Moran's hand rested lightly on the console. "They underestimated us," he said, "always. And that's the mistake that will cost them everything." Outside, stars streaked by as the human fleet turned away from the vanished ship, preparing for the next strike. The galaxy had laughed at humanity for centuries. It had mocked their technology, their ambition, and their resilience. But laughter was over, and somewhere deep in the void, a single thought spread through the Alliance's command. Humanity had grown, and nothing, not shields, not fleets, not centuries of power, would ever be enough to stop them. The galaxy had thought itself untouchable. Humanity had just begun proving otherwise. The galaxy stirred with alarm. Alien fleets poured out from distant star systems, converging on Earth in an unprecedented display of force. Thousands of ships, weapons bristling and shields glowing, moved as one, intent on crushing the human threat before it could spread. Yet from the depths of orbit, humanity's response was calm, precise, and terrifying in its simplicity. 10 human weapons, each unique and built to challenge the impossible, now stood ready. The breakers were no longer concepts or tests. They were war incarnate. Breaker 1 pulsed with raw energy, bending light around it. Breaker 2 shimmered with gravitational distortion, ready to twist the very fabric of space. Breaker 3 hummed quietly, its power already proven against the Obsidian Crown. Each of the remaining 7 waited in silence, loaded, armed, and deadly. Commander Jace Moran stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship, eyes scanning the incoming fleet. "Remember," he said, voice low but commanding, "this is not a war of numbers. This is a war of ingenuity. Every weapon has a purpose. Every strike counts. Timing is everything." The first wave of Alliance ships entered firing range. Energy beams streaked across space, colliding with human shields, creating bursts of light that illuminated the darkness of orbit. Yet the humans moved with a precision that alien calculations could not predict. Breaker 1 released its first strike. The weapon's energy spiraled outward, wrapping around the nearest alien ship. Within moments, it collapsed inward, consumed by a force the aliens could not comprehend. Panic spread through the ranks. Breaker 2 followed, its gravitational pulse bending enemy formation. Ships collided with each other, shields tearing apart under the invisible pressure. The aliens tried to adapt, to retreat, but the humans anticipated every maneuver, their coordination flawless. Each breaker fired in sequence, like a deadly symphony. Breaker 4 cut through shields with beams of condensed plasma. Breaker 5 disrupted engines, leaving entire squadrons adrift in darkness. Breaker 6 bent time around enemy vessels, slowing their reactions to mere seconds. The fleet was falling apart in ways that no alien war manual could explain. From the command bridge, Lyra Han monitored the battlefield, her fingers flying across the controls. "They've underestimated us," she said. They don't even understand what's happening. The aliens' confidence crumbled. Communications between flagship and fleet became chaotic. Commands overlapped, contradictory orders spread confusion, and some ships simply powered down, overwhelmed by the impossible technology raining upon them. Moran leaned forward, voice calm and chilling. This is why they said no weapon could break them. They didn't think anyone could imagine it. But we did. We built 10. In the void, the alien fleets attempted to regroup. Hundreds of vessels fired concentrated volleys at the human fleet. Each breaker responded perfectly. Breaker 7 created an energy shield that absorbed and redirected fire. Breaker 8 fired a pulse that disabled targeting systems across multiple ships. Breaker 9 tore open the hulls of cruisers with gravitational distortions, leaving no chance for repair. And Breaker 10, the final weapon, unleashed a wave of energy so powerful that entire squadrons were flung into the darkness between stars. Silence followed each strike, broken only by alarms and panicked communications aboard the surviving alien ships. Entire fleets had been neutralized in a single night. The galaxy's mightiest forces had no answer, no strategy, no way to fight against human innovation and precision. Moran watched the destruction unfold, unshaken. He turned to Lyra, expression steady. They believed in invincibility. They didn't believe in us. That was their mistake. Lyra nodded. And they'll never make the same mistake twice. Above Mars, the last alien ships retreated, battered and broken. The humans remained, their weapons dormant once more, their strategy flawless. Humanity had struck first, and in doing so, they had shattered the myth of the unbreakable fleet. As the stars settled into silence, Moran's gaze lingered on the wreckage floating in space. The galaxy thinks it controls the stars, he said softly. But it hasn't learned one truth yet. Humanity doesn't follow the rules. Humanity makes the rules. Somewhere beyond the void, other civilizations began to whisper, questioning everything they had believed. And humanity, quiet and deliberate, prepared for the challenges still to come. The War of 10 Weapons was over. The galaxy would remember that night. And humanity had just begun. The galaxy went quiet. Not the quiet of peace, but the heavy, uneasy silence that follows a storm. Ships that had once roared with power now drifted, empty and unmoving, their commanders unsure of what had just occurred. Systems that had counted on alien dominance were sending signals into the void, only to find no one answering. On Earth, the human command centers buzzed with restrained activity. Breakers 1 through 10 had been secured, analyzed, and powered down. For the first time in centuries, humanity could breathe, but the relief was brief. Commander Jace Moran paced the bridge, eyes fixed on the star-studded void. The galaxy had underestimated them, but it would not forgive so easily. Dr. Lyra Han monitored the last transmissions from the alien fleets. "They're silent," she said. "No messages, no regrouping, nothing. It's like the galaxy itself is holding its breath." Moran nodded slowly. "They know what we are capable of now. That's silence. That's fear. The kind of fear we've never had the luxury of enjoying before, but humanity's victory came with questions. What had they truly done? Had they destroyed fleets, or had they erased them from existence? The breakers had proven the impossible was possible, yet each weapon carried a burden, an echo in space that suggested power without limits. Across the Alliance, panic was mounting. Leaders who had once boasted of invincibility now convened in secret councils. Calculations were redone, strategies rewritten, but nothing could counter the humans' ingenuity. No fleet formation, no superweapon, no centuries of accumulated knowledge could predict the next human move. Back on Earth, Moran convened a council of scientists and strategists. "We've broken them," he said. "We've shattered their fleets, proven our place in the galaxy. But power is not enough. We need vigilance. The galaxy won't forget, and they will return," Lyra frowned. "There's another risk. The breakers. What if we've unleashed something beyond our control? Something the galaxy didn't anticipate, something we barely understand ourselves?" Moran's expression hardened. "We've always faced the unknown. We've survived every test, every war, every disaster. Humanity adapts. Humanity endures. And if the galaxy comes again, we will be ready. Outside Earth's orbit, the stars seemed calm, but a faint signal flickered in the darkness. It was weak, almost imperceptible, buried beneath the hum of normal space. A transmission, unlike any human or Alliance code, drifting toward the outer systems. Lyra noticed it on the monitors. "Commander, you're going to want to see this?" Moran leaned over the console. The screen displayed strange symbols, patterns older than any human record, energy signatures that pulsed with an eerie rhythm. It was not alien, at least not any alien known to the Alliance. He straightened, eyes narrowing. "Someone, or something is watching." The council fell silent. Fear, curiosity, and awe mingled in the room. Humanity had shattered myths, destroyed fleets, and proven its ingenuity. But the universe had responded in kind, reminding them that even the unbreakable could have challenges far beyond comprehension. Lyra's voice was quiet, almost a whisper. "They're not alone out there, and whatever this is, it's older than all of us." Moran's gaze drifted to the stars. For the first time, he felt the weight of true suspense, the anticipation of a threat that no calculation could predict. Humanity had won a war, but the galaxy's story was far from over. Above, the breakers rested, dormant but ready. Humanity had reshaped the balance of power, proven that no fleet was untouchable, and every rule of the universe could be challenged. Yet as the strange signal pulsed through space, one truth became clear. The galaxy had been silent, yes, but the quiet was only temporary. Something was coming, and humanity, though victorious, would have to face it. The stars waited, and the galaxy listened. Years had passed since the galaxy fell silent. Humanity had grown stronger, wiser, and more vigilant. The breakers had been secured, analyzed, and studied, their technology forming the backbone of Earth's defenses. The Alliance, still reeling from its losses, dared not approach without caution. Humanity had earned respect and fear. Yet even as humanity rebuilt, there was one secret no one had spoken of. One weapon that had never fired in battle. One weapon whose existence had been hidden even from most of the Breaker teams. It was called Breaker X, the 11th, buried deep beneath the Earth's crust in a vault reinforced with layers of alien alloys and human ingenuity. Breaker X lay dormant, a final failsafe. It had been designed not just to break ships or shields, but to respond to threats the galaxy had yet to imagine. Moran had insisted on its secrecy. Lyra had argued over its purpose, but the decision had been unanimous among the original team. The galaxy might learn of 10 breakers, but the 11th was humanity's ultimate safeguard. On a quiet morning, far from the watchful eyes of satellites and spies, a young explorer, Kai Ren, descended into the vault. The air was thick, heavy with the hum of machinery that had waited decades for activation. Dust motes floated in the beams of light as Kai approached the control terminal. Ancient codes flickered on the screen, human sequences interwoven with alien encryption. Kai's hands trembled slightly as they entered the access codes, unaware of the full weight of what he was about to awaken. A low hum began, resonating through the vault walls. The ground vibrated gently. Lights on Breaker X flickered from dormant blue to a deep glowing gold. The weapon was alive. Somewhere in orbit, Earth's sensors detected unusual energy readings, subtle but unmistakable. Humanity's leaders convened immediately. Moran, now older but still sharp, leaned over the console. "Breaker X," he said quietly. "It's awake." Lyrahan's eyes widened. "It shouldn't respond. It only activates in the presence of extreme existential threat. Nothing has come this close yet." Moran's gaze turned distant. "That means something is approaching, something bigger than anything we've faced. The galaxy itself has been hiding it from us." Breaker X stirred deeper, systems calibrating, sensors scanning beyond known space. It was as if the weapon had a mind, sensing, learning, and preparing. The hum grew louder, pulsing with anticipation. Kai stepped back, awed and frightened. "Commander, What does it want? Moran's voice was calm, steady, resolute. It doesn't want anything. It acts. And when the time comes, it will decide what must be done. Outside Earth's atmosphere, stars seem to shimmer differently, as if acknowledging the presence of something ancient. The universe itself had shifted. Humanity, for all its victories and ingenuity, now faced a challenge beyond comprehension. Breaker X pulsed once more, then stabilized. Its systems aligned with Earth's global defenses, yet it remained independent, waiting for the call only the direst of circumstances could trigger. Moran looked at Lyra. "We thought we'd won. We thought 10 breakers were enough. We were wrong," Lyra nodded slowly. "The 11th is not just a weapon. It's a promise, a warning, and maybe our only hope." Kai glanced at the glowing machine. "Then humanity isn't just fighting the galaxy anymore." Moran placed a hand on the console, voice steady and fierce. "No, humanity is defending existence itself." The stars beyond Earth pulsed faintly, almost in response. Somewhere deep in uncharted space, a presence stirred, older than the galaxy, watching, calculating, and humanity, armed with Breaker X, waited. The galaxy had claimed no weapon could break it. Humanity had built 11, and the universe was about to find out why.